Hey guys, it's TF Nut. Welcome back to the channel, and for the second Halloween special review that I'm doing on the channel for the month of October, I'm going to be looking at the previously released NECA The Thing Ultimate MacReady Station Survival figure. So this one, again, it's been out for a bit. I think sometime last year or maybe 2021 when it came out. I don't exactly remember. But this did come out sometime after the very first version that I did review. I just never got around to picking up this particular one. And now we have a brand new one, which is the Final Stand version. I believe that is a first-to-market Target version right now. I think hopefully it will be out in different retailers later, but I haven't found that at local Targets yet. But I just recently got this from Big Bad Toy Store. It took a while for this to restock. I decided to go ahead and pick it up because of all the different accessories that this comes with. Even though I already have this figure, there's not much to compare and contrast because this is pretty much the same figure. I'm really hoping they release some other survivors, at least Child's, because then we'll have a Keith David figure. And they do have one of the monsters coming out soon. Hopefully we'll get more. But looking at the 360 of the packaging here, just going to show you quickly how that looks because you all are pretty familiar with this by now. If you know anything about this line, particular line of the Thing NECA figures, they're pretty decent so far, but again, really it's all just MacReady and the one SDCC exclusive. Again, 360 here, great illustrations of Kurt Russell as well as the dog. The back of the packaging also has pretty nice shots of the figure on the sides of the box too. On the top here, there's an image of Kurt Russell with the Thing, ages 17 and up, warning choking hazard, and the NECA logo. On the bottom, we have a bunch of credits of who worked on this figure, as well as Universal NECA Real Toys and the barcode in case you need it. When you open up the flap, you do see the figure on the left side of that flap with, it's in a diorama, so that's really cool. And you do have the figure on the right side of the box with all the contents there. Let's go ahead and get this figure out of the packaging. Here's the figure out of the packaging, and I know exactly what I was getting myself into when purchasing this particular figure. I do wish that this was more of an accessory pack. I would have definitely loved it to just be an accessory pack. Not that I don't like this figure, I do really like it. It's just, this is definitely an unnecessary purchase for me. There's some slight differences here with this particular one compared to the previous one, of course. But yeah, I don't know if you should pick this one up or the other one, or if you really don't want to get two of the exact same figure. The accessories are really cool though. Let's take a look at those accessories, then we'll take a closer look at the figure. So let's talk about what this figure comes with from the previous figure. Well, kind of comes with the previous figure. Because I want to show you that this one on the right, this is from the first ever MacReady with the open mouth. And the new one comes with the closed mouth with the hood there. Now, the first ever release of MacReady came with the stern expression with the hair. So they just pretty much swapped the heads and the hoods on this particular release. And we'll take a look at the head that he comes packaged with this new version in a second. But I never thought this entirely looked like Kurt Russell, but I think it's close, just not exactly there. I do like the paint and sculpt in the beard. It's really nicely done. I think the print in the eyes is cool. There's nice detailing and creasing. And like the forehead, around the cheeks too. I do think that the paint on my accessories this time around, some of them, like the paint's just not very good. There's a different amount of splotching. There's different black specks on this hood. But I do think that the light blue here to bring out the details on the hood and like the wrinkles is pretty nice. And this is softer plastic here. Figure comes with trigger hands, ambidextrous here. You can see the veins on the back. You have some creasing on the back of the on the hands and like the knuckles there. You also have the fingernails and the palms. All that looks really good. I believe he came with these at the same time. I don't have every accessory from the previous MacReady on me right now. I still have the review up if you guys want to watch that. Shameless plug. We have a gripping hand here. I don't remember if it came with two gripping hands last time, but this one here is for various smaller accessories. You can see the detailing in the fingernails and the back of the hand there as well. So what is different? Well, we have these hands. These are gripping hands. This is meant for holding. Can it hold the dynamite? Yeah, it should be able to hold the dynamite. You might have to fudge it in there a bit. Yeah, maybe. But it also can hold the wire right there. It's also kind of a loose fit. Dang. But this is meant for gripping some of the larger accessories. We have a separation in the index finger there. Nice detailing in the palms, on the knuckles again. This one is meant for holding the petri dish. So as you see on the back of the hand, once again, pretty nice veins. They're really nicely detailed hands. We also have his revolver. Glad he came with this.
I really like the black paint as well as the brown on the handle here. It's pretty, I wouldn't say basic, but it's pretty straightforward in design. I forget exactly the name of the character that originally had this, but you know, they really captured this particular revolver very well there. We also have the wire that I did talk about a second ago. You can see that there's a bunch of white paint specked throughout here. So the paint apps on this particular thing is not great. The detailing looks good for what it is, and this is a bit of a softer plastic, but by all means I would not mess around with this too much because that could break. We also have the Petri dish here. This particular one is Palmer's. If you don't want to show it being Palmer's, you could just swap it around in his hand like that, and there's no name to hit there. But it actually says Palmer, which is nice. And in here you can see the red for the blood. So you can make that look like, you know, a Petri dish that hasn't had anything in it yet, and then you take the blood effect, which can be a little bit hard to shove this in there. But the idea is the blood effect goes in here, and you can, you know, hold it in one of the hands, and the blood will splatter like that. I take the blood here. It looks really fantastic. Really nice red translucent plastic. Detailing of different stuff going on here is really good. I also think, even though this doesn't flow naturally like how blood should, this could also work as like some type of gunshot effect if someone gets shot for a different character. So I think that's kind of cool. Again, the way it flows isn't like supernatural though. Some of this might be able to break off, so just be careful with it. It's a little bit of a softer plastic, but it's still got some brittleness to it, if that's even a word. We have the bundle of dynamite here, looking really nice. The ends here, really nicely detailed. All the different sides here, with the like beige type of paint. A little bit of a speck right there, and then the black tape around that. Looking cool. Then we have the ice pick. Really nice dry brushing here on the end. Dry brushing here on the spike. Nice light brown paint mixed in with darker brown to make it look like it's a little bit weathered on the handle. And then the gray here is really nicely done. This is really cool. I'm digging that. And then we have a flame effect here, which I'll show off for the flamethrower in a second, but it's a bit of a translucent it is a translucent plastic, but the paint on here is thick enough to where it doesn't look translucent, but it's like a slightly like orange yellowish paint going on here. This is a really nicely done flame effect. It looks really good, and it plugs into this like so. So you can make that flow however you want. Last but certainly not least is the flamethrower. This is really cool. Over this back piece here with the wrinkles, that looks cool. There's a little bit of like, I guess dry brushing on here, a little bit of like lighter green kind of. These strings holding it together, it all looks really realistic. I'm really digging that with a nice brown going on. You do have the silver for those belt loop holes, I guess. I don't really know what those would be called, but all this is really nice. I haven't had him wear this yet. These could get in the way. This might be a little bit hard for him to put around him with these being a bit of a softer plastic. It could still kind of cause some pulling where you wouldn't want it to. Nice weathering of like a light type of brown to make it look like it's a little bit rusty and dirty on the green there. All that looks really great. I really love how they sculpted this. Now again, there's some brittle pieces that if you push too hard could break, so I'd be careful. Silver on the top there. And everything is really nice. This is not a bendy wire, but it is a softer plastic, so you can maybe like heat this up. And then the end here, that looks really cool. Nice weathering with some brown going on in there. So this one came with way more accessories, I feel like, than the previous MacReady. So I hate to be that guy, but again, I have a review of the previous MacReady on the channel from a couple years ago. So if you remember that review, or you don't, I mean, I've already spent a lot of time on the accessory portion. So I went over the detail on this particular figure pretty extensively in the previous review, and I say that because the biggest difference that you're going to see right now is how the open mouth head has the hair on it, like how the stern expression had the hair on it with you know, the previous MacReady. So I kind of dig that NECA did that to where you're not exactly buying the same exact figure because the head's are slightly different. But by all means, body-wise, yes, this is the exact same figure, minus the fact that you have the belt this time around going on. And I can't entirely blame them, but I wish that they would have just made a separate accessory pack instead. They've been doing that with particular characters. Even though some of it was like NECA store exclusive, they could have given us an accessory pack easily instead of just selling this other figure. I guess they're trying to get their use out of this mold that they made, but also I just kind of wish they would make other characters. I know that Kurt Russell's a pretty big name, so there's really no other character they could really make a figure of to sell all that merch besides the Keith David figure. So, like, even like the boots, they're just the exact same. It's not that this is a bad figure, it's just, again, it should have been an accessory pack and not a separate figure. The biggest difference, again, being the belt and the holster. Now, with the holster, I feel like this latch here, or this, whatever this is, that should be removable so you could pop this out, like a lot of the times some of these can. I don't believe you can. I've tried to tug on it a little bit without that much force in case I was going to break it, and it won't budge. However, you really don't need to remove that. You could just stick the revolver in there like so. And the bullet casings, all that looks pretty good. I mean, it looks a little too much like brown there. So I don't feel like they painted every bullet completely clearly, unfortunately. The silver on the belt's a little messy. And then there's like a little bit of a black wash on the leather, which actually looks pretty good. I think that this is a little bad though. I think paint-wise with this particular figure, that the brown, I think there's more of a brighter wash in some areas, mostly in the chest and the stomach. You could tell from the left, there's definitely some type of dry brushing or a wash on the pockets on the left, but it's way more prominent on the one on the right. One thing I think that's a little bit minor to mention is if you look at the elbow joints this time around on the right, that newer one, the color is more consistent in a darker brown compared to the lighter brown that kind of sticks out a little bit with that darker brown. And there's really no reason for me to remove the gloves on MacReady right now, because I'm showing you how they look on the previous one. And again, I think that the likeness to Kurt Russell isn't completely there, but I do think it's pretty close. The detailing on that hair has always been very good. I don't think there's much different. I think it's a little bit brighter this time around. Looking on the back, I think, again, a little bit of a lighter brown wash in some of the wrinkles. Looking pretty good. It didn't look bad before, of course. A little bit of like paint going on right next to that joint. The pants, I don't think there's anything different paint-wise. I think that these might be a little bit dirtier. Like it looks like it has a little bit more of a brown finish to it. That is really distracting on that one. That's some kind of weird crease in the plastic. Anyway, like the zippers have really nice paint. You see like whatever in his pocket right there. Yeah, I mean it looked good before, and the boots too. Again, I think there's a little bit of a lighter brown wash on the newer boots there. And then wrinkles throughout everything. Like the detailing is really good still. Like NECA has always done a great job with the detailing on this particular figure. I think that where the blue is for his hoodie, I think that the brown is bleeding a little too much into the blue. I mean, yes, you have the brown from the jacket mixing in with the blue, so it's not too distracting, but this looks way better, like quality control wise. There's a little bit of brown on the blue, but it's not as bad if you look closely on this newer figure. There really is not much else for me to talk about here. I reviewed the previous one extensively. This is the exact same sculpt, swapped heads, a little bit of a lighter brown throughout the figure, definitely throughout the jacket, and then a new belt and holster. So yeah, not much different. Articulation, it could be better on most NECA figures, to be quite honest. The head does not go up that far. It can go down rather far. Side to side's a little hindered. Swiveling is fine. I do want to go ahead and pop off the head swap it with this one. I only want to see what the range of motion is up. It's a little bit better up, and that can move around decently too. When you move that, it breaks up. It shows the skin tone, unfortunately. Arms go all the way around. It's really tight. This is a softer plastic here, but it's still really stiff. That's as far out as the arms want to go. Single joint elbow that can bend a little over 90, swiveling there too. Swivel at the wrist, hinge at the wrist. This is for every set of hand. You can grab these cuffs and they can swivel around a bit. I mean, there's a bit of a ball joint in here. Yeah, they can swivel. I think it's just a separate, yeah, there's like a separate sculpt of the actual swivel where you can see the skin in there, but then there's also a ball joint in here. So slightly good range of motion going on here, but it could be better. Legs, this is also a softer plastic crotch. That's as far out as it wants to kick. Not amazing. Back could be better. Actually decent splits. Not that he needs to do it. Upper thigh swivel there. It could be a little bit better, but it also could be worse. Single joint knee. Yeah, it's not great. Swivel there though. This boot's really tight, but this can swivel here at the boot where it meets the pants. The down motion on the ankle's pretty good. Up motion, I think you could maybe force it a little bit, but it could be better. And then an ankle rocker. Measuring out the figure, we're looking at about 18.5 inches tall. That is going to put this inches wise about 7.25 inches tall. No reason to bring out the original MacReady from 2021. They're the exact same figure here. So I actually had this lying around. It's my first ever NECA figure. Resident Evil 5 Chris Redfield. Still love this figure. It's a little outdated. But you can see, I think Chris is a little bit taller, just ever so slightly. Right next to him on the left, that's my SH Figure Arts Guts I just reviewed, which thank you guys for blowing up the review at the cost of my sanity. You can see how short that is. And of course, NECA figures are going to be much taller than Marvel Legends and Black Series. Overall, I do like this figure originally. I just feel like this should not have been another figure. I understand that NECA went ahead and, tooled the entire figure from head to toe, painted it, sculpted it, and you get their money's worth out of it. I just think they should have done an accessory pack, to be quite honest. This, as well as whatever comes with this final stand version, there's no reason, me personally, I think, that they need to release the same exact figure 3 times like this. It's Marvel Legends stuff at this point. Now, again, with that being said, I do like how this figure was originally sculpted. There's not much different. I think the belt is a nice touch there. I do like pretty much every accessory here, the weapons, as well as the blood effect and the petri dish, all of that, the different hands. Very cool stuff going on here. The articulation on this figure is always pretty hindered, unfortunately. The faces could have a little bit of a better likeness to Kurt Russell, but overall it's still a pretty nice figure. You could buy this figure and use your original MacReady as like some type of civilian, I guess, but again, I just wish this was more of an accessory pack. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below if you think about the figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends, and I'll see you guys later.